The brackets are set for the women's Final Four as the spotlight is on Phoenix as this year's host city. We're getting you ready on this special edition of the Cronkite Sports Report.
Fans are already enjoying the Fan Fest over at Town on 3rd Street outside the Phoenix Convention Center. A ton of free events if you can't snag a ticket to the games. Good evening and welcome to this special Women's Final Four edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Grace Johnson.
And I'm Dane Palmer. Thank you so much for joining us, Grace. The Women's Final Four makes its way to downtown Phoenix for the first time here at Mortgage Matchup Center. Should have some great matchups on Friday.
Yeah, should have some great basketball across the weekend, Dane. And if you're looking at the matchups and wondering, wait a minute, this looks a little familiar, well, it should, because all four teams from last year's Final Four are making it back here to Phoenix. UConn, UCLA, Texas, and South Carolina are all back for another run.
Yeah, and for more on the road to the Final Four, our very own Jacob Brooks has the bracket breakdown.
The stage is set for the Women's Final Four, and it's 4 number 1 seeds for the first time since 2018. But how did they all get here? Let's start off with the University of Texas Longhorns, who had probably the most dominant Elite 8 win of these 4 teams, defeating number 2 Michigan by 36 points. But it was a tumultuous road for Texas to get here. Back in February, after a rough loss to Vanderbilt, head coach Vic Schaefer called out his team, calling them soft. Since then, it's safe to say they've proved him wrong.
They have been nothing but tough. They have been nothing but competitive. Since that day, they have answered the bell every night.
Standing in the Longhorns' way are the UCLA Bruins, who have been one of the most dominant paint teams in the entire nation, headlined by Lauren Betts, who's averaging 24 points per game here in this tournament. Now, the Bruins are a 1 seed for the first time in head coach Corey Close's tenure, and the way they've been able to do that has been through their mindset.
And if they can look themselves in the face and go in the mirror and go, hey, you know what? I have done everything under my control to master my craft, and I have chosen to be an elite teammate. I want them to go compete with freedom and joy.
Now, if you're a hoops junkie, you might have a little more weight in the other semifinal matchup between 2 historic programs in UConn and South Carolina. This is actually a rematch of last year's national championship game where UConn won in blowout fashion 82-59, but the Gamecocks, man, they've been dominating their way through the field thus far in March, en route to head coach Dawn Staley's 6th straight Final Four appearance.
What drives us every day is our habits. Like it's a driving force. What you work on is who you're going to be. When game day comes, if you didn't have a good week of practice, it's probably going to show.
But you know the saying, it's as old as time. If you want to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. And this isn't just any title defending roster. Head coach Gino Auriemma is the winningest head coach in NCAA women's basketball history. And even though his Huskies have been cruising through the field with ease, he hasn't been too happy with how this year's tournament has been set up.
I just don't understand some of the decisions that are made about our game when we're trying to grow the game.
With 4 1 seeds and each team having a completely unique path to get here, it's sure to be some exciting matchups this Friday for fans in the Valley. Guys?
We're joined now by former ASU women's head basketball coach and legend Charlie Turner-Thorne. Charlie, we just talked about the matchups. We're seeing all 4 teams again this year in the Final Four. What's different about these teams this year, and what can we expect from these matchups?
I would say this year, I've never in my lifetime had 4 teams in a Final Four that I thought any one of them could win. They all have the defense. They all have star power. South Carolina's got the most depth. UCLA they're the oldest team by far in the country. They're all graduate students almost. UConn might have the best big 3, and Texas says they have the best defense. That's the most fun thing for me this year, besides it's in Phoenix. The second most fun thing is that, gosh, any one of these teams can absolutely win.
100%.
Yeah, well, and it's been tougher in college sports now to bring returners back, keep those players coming back. How has that changed and made new challenges with the NIL and the transfer portal for coaches, especially in women's basketball?
Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, I guess in the good news is like you can take over a program like Molly Miller did and go buy a team and boom, we're back in the tournament. So there's some upside, but overall, when I talk to these coaches across the country, as I go scout their teams or do some broadcasting, they think it's a mess. They're struggling with it because it's hard to build culture when your players are in and out. It's a lot to manage, and I think that the most disappointing thing is culture. Like you being able to build that buy-in and relationships when your team is changing as much as it is.
Yeah, well, speaking of culture, this is the first time the women's Final Four has been here in Phoenix. What's the culture been like around the city, and how special is it for the Valley?
Well, I mean, obviously economically, yay, right? 2 thumbs up. I mean, to me, in my mind, there's a Super Bowl, there's World Cup, this is me, and then there's March Madness, right? And so we have it here. Obviously, we've had the men's tournament twice. I think to have, finally, we bid when I was a coach way back in my early years, and they said we didn't have enough hotels down here, but you usually don't get it on the first time. So I just think it's a huge boost for Molly, ASU, for women's basketball, the Mercury. It just continues to build women's basketball. And I do want to give a shout out. I mean, so ASU and the Mercury are the ones that brought it here. It's a big process. It's a lot. And kudos to them for bringing it here to downtown Phoenix. You want me to tell you who I think is going to win?
Yeah, let's see it.
I'm going with my heart. I'm going with Pac-10, Pac-12. I'm going with West Coast. I'm going with the Bruins.
All right, sticking with the Bruins here. Can't wait to see how it plays out on Friday.
The action tips off Friday, where the defending national champs take on Dawn Staley's South Carolina team at 4 p.m. After that, the UCLA Bruins and Texas Longhorns will battle it out for the last spot at 6:30.
Yeah, surprisingly, Phoenix is hosting the Women's Final Four for the very first time. Excited to see how it does this year. So mark 2026 as the first for this event, but since 2015, Phoenix has hosted 2 Super Bowls in 2015 and 2023, a college football national championship in 2016, and 2 NCAA men's Final Fours in 2017 and 2024.
Yeah, Dane, and fans are soaking in events across the city, including street festivals with live music and activities for the whole family over at Tourneytown, and that's where we find our reporter, Matt Araneta. Matt, what you got for us?
Yeah, Grace, Tourneytown is rolling, as you can tell. These festivities will go on from April 2nd to the 5th, and there's much more to expect. Now here we have the bracket ball challenge, but for this challenge, you're not really worried about your own bracket for the tournament. For this one, you need to make it in the hoop. So let's see if we can do it. And we missed. The NCAA March Madness tournament for men's and women's is not the only tournament the NCAA has on. As you can see, we have softball, soccer, and even lacrosse. Let's see if this one goes. I got one!
Tourneytown wouldn't be possible without the fans, especially for the schools they're rooting for.
It's just great to be out there and just really driving the energy, with everybody. It's just a great time.
Excitement is high, and I think they're very well prepared. So they're peaking at the right time.
The fans are excited. I'm excited, and Tourneytown did not disappoint. The Women's Final Four starts on Friday, playing for this beautiful trophy. That's all from me, guys. Back to you.
Well, that looks like a ton of fun. ASU hosting the tournament this year.
Yeah, Dane, and the Sun Devils had a fantastic season last year. We'll take a look back and talk to one of their coaches who played in 2 Final Fours.
It's one of those things that it's like so memorable, and it's like a core memory. It's also a privilege. There are way tougher jobs out there.
For Abi Olajuwon, basketball runs in her blood. More on the coach with the famous last name coming up on the Cronkite Sports Report.
It's the 2026 Women's Final Four here in downtown Phoenix. Will it be UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, or Texas? The road to the Final Four ends here in Phoenix this weekend.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report, a special Women's Final Four edition. ASU playing host here to the Final Four. They had themselves a heck of a year, 15 straight wins, a record for the school to start the year, and their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in 7 years.
Yeah, Dane, I feel like Molly Miller just brings heat with her wherever she goes, and this team's 24-win season is a program record by a first-year head coach. As we take a look at some impressive stats from this season, the team finished 24-11. You see that record of 15-0 start. They made their first NCAA appearance since 2019 and went 3-0 in the Territorial Cup matchup against Arizona. Not to mention the fact that Miller has been a great spokesperson for the program.
And another vital part of ASU's success has been assistant coach Abi Olajuwon, and she brings a veteran presence to the team and is no stranger to NCAA appearances.
Yeah, our Cronkite sports reporter Alex DaCosta and Olajuwon took a trip down memory lane to talk about her longtime legacy and her famous last name.
For Abi Olajuwon, basketball is not just a passion, it's in her blood. The daughter of an NBA Hall of Famer, Olajuwon has built her own name in the game as a college national champion, a WNBA player, and now in her first year as an assistant coach at ASU. Olajuwon, who played in back-to-back Final Fours during her playing days at Oklahoma in 2009 and 2010, knows what it's like to make it on a big stage.
It's one of those things that it's like so memorable and it's like a core memory. It's also a privilege. You know, there are way tougher jobs out there. And so there are people and fans that deserve to see a good show, and you just be grateful for it. You can be competitive and still enjoy a moment.
Her dad, legendary NBA Hall of Famer Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, played in 3 Final Fours, including 2 title games with the Houston Cougars, and was named the most outstanding player of the 1983 NCAA tournament. Hakeem had a lengthy NBA career before retiring from the Houston Rockets. Abi, who wore the same number 34 as her dad, appreciates his Final Four advice.
Biggest advice that he gives us is to be present in the moment, because you think it's going to be long, and then before you know it, you're a senior, you're out on your own, and then you get this opportunity. So I think that was the thing, because unfortunately, out of the 5 Final Fours we went to, we have not won the whole thing. So maybe one of my brothers will do it.
From playing and coaching both domestically and internationally, Abi has competed against and mentored players from all over the world. They all have one question in common. What is the secret sauce to her dad's signature move?
I always say that the Dream Shake, you know, just like any grandparent or any parent, they always keep out one ingredient so that theirs is always perfect and yours is always just a little. Just depends on the player. Not everyone can do it. Not everybody wants to. The first person who worked at our house as far as that wanted to learn post moves and style of play in Dream Shake was Kobe Bryant.
Abi has the resume, drive, and passion it takes to be a successful coach. But the special quality that sets her apart, the love for the game that runs through her veins. In Tempe, Alex DaCosta, Cronkite News.
What a great walk down memory lane, and it's hard to believe, Dane, that between her and her father and all the Final Fours they've been in, they've never come out with a title.
Yeah, and so much has changed since 15 years ago when she was at Oklahoma, from the notoriety to the money. I had the chance to talk to one local Arizona business and one ASU athlete about how women are cashing in on their sport.
I remember in high school, I originally started my NAL. I was starting a t-shirt and merch for myself, and it was kind of all based around mental health around student athletes. And that's continued to kind of be something I've been stressing and pushing forward within my brand and within my influence and social media, stuff like that.
We have Marley Washnitz on Molly's team. They're just phenomenal women. You know, they're great to work with. It's been amazing.
Playing in high school, middle school, obviously I always wanted to be in these positions, and that was just naturally because I was playing women's basketball, so I felt that connection, and then to see the game grow to what it's been now has been awesome. And then you see the new news that came out about the WNBA and the whole CBA thing and stuff like that. So just to see it grow and for us to continue to grow that momentum has been amazing to see.
Yeah, and it's not just the NIL money that has changed things in women's sports. The ratings have also skyrocketed. The WNBA getting themselves a new collective bargaining agreement. With that, we should see better pay and better systems in that league.
Yeah, Dan, good to see the growth of women's sports all around. But now for another connection to the women's Final Four and the Valley here, Molly Miller left GCU to coach ASU basketball. Now her GCU replacement, Winston Gandy, comes to Phoenix from South Carolina after being Dawn Staley's assistant coach. And he knows a few things about Final Fours and winning it all. And he sat down with our Justin Lassertosa.
What does your week look like with the Final Four being here?
Well, you got a lot of text, phone calls, and obviously anytime you have an event like this, in your backyard, it brings exposure, obviously to the game, but also to the university.
You've been on this stage before. You've competed in Final Fours, competed for national championships. I mean, what's different about playing and preparing in a situation like that?
This may be kind of like a party or let loose week, but for the teams that are competing, it's very much no difference than a conference game, or a conference tournament, where you kind of have a professional-like approach.
Your national championship came in 2024 at South Carolina under legendary head coach Dawn Staley. She referred to it as information overload, with you kind of taking over the game plan against Iowa, Caitlin Clark. I mean, how many hours did you put into that week?
I think, Dawn's great, when it comes to that. But I think, as with the whole staff, and Dawn obviously leading it, where our team didn't know it, but we were preparing for her well before that week. I wish I'd like to be able to tell you it was in those 3 days, but I would say I probably never watched as many games on an opponent than I had, obviously, for Iowa.
And that was such a pivotal moment when it came to the growth and the boom of women's basketball. And you guys got the job done against Caitlin Clark and an Iowa team that was firing on all cylinders. What was it like just to be in that situation at that time?
I don't think it really hits you or you enjoy it until probably after the fact. I'll be honest, the next day after, we're thinking about recruiting. She's like, every time you go to ESPN and you look at the ticker, it has the last game, the championship, the final score. And she was like, that's when it hits her.
Yeah, and Dawn Staley has built a powerhouse at South Carolina. She's a legend when it comes to women's basketball. As a whole, what was your dynamic like with her?
The most consistent leader I've been around. How she was with 1,000 cameras in her face is how she is one-on-one. There's obviously no secret that they're in a position, obviously, to have a chance to do it again this year.
You've had the opportunity to not only compete with some of the best in the country, but compete against some of the best in the country. And
Certainly.
One name that comes to mind when it comes to long, sustained success, Coach Gino at UConn.
Yeah.
Coach the likes of Diana Taurasi, Phoenix legend, to Paige Beckers, who's someone who's just up and coming. What was it like competing against a program like that?
The proof is, as what Don said, the proof's in the pudding. It's no secret when you have pivotal leaders that know how to lead, know how to identify kind of what players want, and delivering that. It's no secret that, again, they find themselves right there in the mix of things as well, every year in, year out.
It'll be interesting to see what Gandy does with the program at GCU, and he learned from one of the legends in Dawn Staley. But now her South Carolina team is taking on another legend in UConn head coach Gino Auriemma and his UConn Huskies.
Yeah, should be an instant classic. When we come back, we'll talk more not just about the Final Four's legacy, but as well as a local pioneer who's making changes and paving the way for women's sports in the Valley. We'll tell you how Sister Lynn Winsor made strides for women's equality in sports. Coming up next on the Cronkite Sports Report.
UCONN, UConn.
And fans are getting pumped for the 2026 Women's Final Four here in Phoenix.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me.
So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Inside Mortgage Matchup Center, you see the court for the 2026 Women's Final Four, and it presents the Valley to a T. The orange and purple mosaic tiles for the Phoenix Suns and Mercury, and the Suns surrounding center court definitely feels like a Valley backdrop. And that took over a year to build, Dane, from conception to design to installation just earlier this week.
Yeah, and it looks really good too. This tournament isn't just about the big games or the exciting moments, but it's about giving back, as one neighborhood not too far from here, just 15 minutes up the road, got themselves a new court as well. It's all a part of the Women's Final Four Legacy Project. They refurbished an indoor-outdoor basketball court down at the Washington Activity Center. The court reveal was this week and looks to provide a safe space for families in the area.
This community and the 18,000 people who use this center every year have a recreational facility that they deserve. This is more than just an aesthetic upgrade. It is a commitment to doing better for the next generation.
Well, speaking of lasting legacies, a local legend here in Arizona has finally retired after 52 years of service to women's sports.
Yeah, and she's been a trailblazer in more ways than one, Dane. And our Cronkite sports reporter, Raina Majale, has more on the remarkable run of this high school mentor.
Sister Lynn Winsor has served over half a century at Xavier College Prep as a trailblazer for girls in sports. Her impact reaches far beyond the Valley. The longtime athletic director, coach, and vice principal is officially passing the baton after 5 decades of dedication to Xavier.
To spend 52 years anywhere, whether you're married or you're single or you work at a job or whatever, you get to know and love the place.
Since we heard that Sister Lynn's retiring, we did all the captains from all the sports did a little tribute to her, and then we sang the alma mater, and it was just really sweet. She started tearing up, and you could really just see how much Xavier means to her.
The decorated coach holds a national record of 40 state championship titles in her 47 seasons as girls golf coach. She was inducted into the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame in 1997 and then recognized as National Golf Coach of the Year the year following.
I'm a motivator. I get kids excited about it. I'm a lot of fun. But when it came to the skills, you always have somebody with you who's better. I will not take the credit for that.
Professional golfers out of Arizona, Cheyenne Woods, Grace Park, and Missy Farquet are just a few products of Sista's mentorship.
We would laugh and laugh and laugh and had a blast. But man, if you stepped out of line, you knew it really quickly. And it had nothing to do with your golf score. It had everything to do with how you were.
Current AD and golf coach Tui Selvaratnam is next in line to carry on Sister Lynn's legacy, a legacy she feels honored to preserve.
How hard she has worked to build this school and given almost all her life to this place, and what she has done for all these student athletes and all the alumni that have gone before her. Just want to give that experience to everyone that comes through.
The local legend's contribution to Title IX was crucial in shaping the future of women's sports. She created opportunities for girls in soccer, beach volleyball, and flag football, to name a few.
I think it's just really inspiring for me because, especially with flag football, where it wasn't normal for girls to play football until a couple years ago, and I just feel like she also was a big part in getting flag football approved for girls for AIA.
Boys had soccer. We had nothing for girls here. So myself, Phoenix Country Day, Orm Ranch, and another upper, so let's start our own little league. So we started a little soccer league. All we had was old shorts, T-shirts, and everything, but people found out about it. And that was in '85, and now look, everybody has freshman, JV, and varsity teams.
Back in 2024, Xavier's Activity Center was renamed to the Winsor Activity Center to honor Sister Lynn's 50-plus years of service to the school.
When somebody names something after you, I think, oh no, that means you're getting old. It's a nice tribute because I remember way back when we had nothing. But it's not me, it's the kids that have gone through.
After blazing a trail for others, Sister Lynn will still be cheering on the next generation of Gator girls.
We love you, Sister Lynn, and we are so thankful for all that you've done for Arizona and women in general and for our school.
I've been blessed for 52 years, and I'm going to continue the cause of Xavier wherever I go. And I always say, go Gators, and God bless.
In Phoenix, Raina Majalet, Cronkite News.
Well, she will be missed. Truly a legacy that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, and there are a few legacies, Dane, in this year's Final Four, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the history-making of UConn head coach Gino Auriemma. He's in his 41st season at UConn with nearly 1,300 wins, including 6 undefeated seasons. He's been to 25 Final Fours and has won 12 national championships.
We've got some other Final Four fast facts for you. As you mentioned, the UConn Huskies hold the record for titles with 12. Cheryl Swoops holds the title for most points, 47 points made in 1993 with Texas Tech, of course.
The women's Final Four tournament with the most viewers was the 2024 championship with 18.9 million viewers. And Tampa Bay holds the record for most Final Four tournaments, having hosted in 2008, 2015, 2019, and 2025.
Well, the highest attended Final Four, that Tampa one in 2019. But I feel like Phoenix really has a chance to break that. This city always shows up and shows out for its sports.
There's definitely a chance, Dane. But before we wrap things up, I got to ask, who do you have winning it all?
Well, I think Texas has been hot lately, and I think they're finally going to have the chance to get it done this year.
I think I got to stick with the UCLA Bruins, Dane.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's going to be it for this year's special Women's Final Four Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Dane Palmer.
And I'm Grace Johnson. Enjoy the tournament, and we'll see you next time.